Hello, in this video, you will see how to configure the basic security services that the firewall has. When we talk about security services in a firewall, we are referring to gateway antivirus, anti-spyware, IPS, HIP filter, bot and application control. Although we also find services such as DNS Security, anti-spam and advanced threat. To gateway antivirus. The configuration of these security services is found within the Security Services Policy menu. But remember that for the firewall to analyze traffic, the option must be checked in each of the zones from which we want it to be analyzed. The origin of the traffic is marked. If I initiate traffic from human resources to any zone, the traffic will be analyzed. If, for example, I move traffic or initiate traffic from the VPN zone, the traffic would not be analyzed. In this case, spyware to any other zone, not the LAN, or the one to anything, is not checked. We mark the origin of the traffic. The first menu we find is the summary. Here we find the option to synchronize the licenses. Manually, check advanced security, modify the schedule for when the firewall will automatically download signatures for all security services, which is 2 hours by default, reduce the antivirus time for ISDN connections. By activating this checkbox, what we do is make the firewall check every 24 hours instead of several times a day. Here we have the option to drop traffic when the gateway, antivirus, anti-spyware and IPS databases are being downloaded, and the option to modify the time that the firewall will wait to notify users when they connect via HTTP to a web page that has been stopped by gateway antivirus. If a virus is being downloaded, the connection is cut off. If the user refreshes the web page, how much time can pass before that refresh forces the traffic analysis again? From there we have the configuration of the different security services. We have Gateway Antivirus, and here we find two main tabs with the service configuration and with the view of the signatures. If we access the signatures view, we see the 21,230 signatures that are currently in the firewall. These are virus signatures that are currently being seen from all our firewall systems, honeypots, email security, any device. These are viruses that are moving today. If we return to the configuration view, we have the option to enable or disable Gateway Antivirus, and below we have the protocols that we analyze, which are HTTP, FTP, IMAP, SMTP, POP3, SIPs, NetBIOS, shared network folders or TCP stream. And here we have the option for each of them to enable incoming traffic and to enable outgoing traffic. As I mentioned before, in the event that there is a match, the traffic or the connection is cut, discarded. Then we have the Cloud Antivirus tab. Cloud Antivirus is a service that we can activate once we have accepted the change and the firewall has Key2 Antivirus activated. And we see how we now have the list of the cloud database, around 100 million signatures, and what the firewall will do is that if it doesn't detect anything with the local signatures, it will hash the file that is being moved and it will be checked in this database. There will be times when we want Gateway Antivirus not to affect certain machines. These options are found in the Configure button, and here we can, for example, disable the detection of ICAR test viruses and use a list of exclusions based on network objects or IP address ranges so that the antivirus gateway does not affect that traffic. We also find, in the case that the firewall can notify the user, the text that will appear on the web page that they are trying to access. Then, as security services we have anti-spyware, same structure, configuration and signatures. Here again we have 3,291 signatures today. This number, I repeat, may vary, go up or down. In the configuration, we activate the service, and once we have saved it, the firewall allows us to modify the options with the 3 criticality levels that we have, which are low, medium and high. And we can do 2 things with each of them. We can prevent or detect. If we only select detect, it means that the firewall will see the traffic, it will see a spyware, in this case, it will point it to us in the logs, but it will allow the traffic. If we want to stop the traffic, what we have to do is select the prevent option. The most common thing is to prevent high and medium levels and, of course, also detect them. In the last column, we find the lock redundancy behavior, that is, every how many seconds we are going to write a new spyware detection in the firewall logs in this case. And in the configure option, we find settings quite similar to those we found before in Gateway Antivirus to enable exclusions and be able to test with devices. The next security service, Intrusion Prevention, maintains the same structure. We have a tab with the configuration and a tab with the signatures. In this case, we find close to 9,000 signatures within the local database. In the IPS configuration, we must activate it. And again, very similar to anti-spyware, we find 3 levels of criticality, low, medium and high, and we have the options to prevent and detect. In the same way, we should at least check these options here. If we activate the prevention of the low categories and the detection, we can find things like this. And it is that within the low category we find a specific signature that is stopping the return ICMP traffic. We have it within the signatures. If we sort, we tell the firewall to show us only the low categories, and it is signature 316 that is here, which is the echo replay. For each and every one of the signatures that are in IPS, we can edit the specific signature. In this case, the signature is 316, and we can modify the firewall behavior that we just defined at a global category level and uncheck, for example, the prevention option. And as soon as we save the change, we see that the PIN, or rather the responses to the PIN, can indeed enter the firewall again by responding to my host. All this information, both in prevention and detection, appears in the logs, and here we see detection messages and prevention messages. We see the sources as 888 and the destination as my private IP address. Therefore, enabling IPS in low categories without taking any kind of care can generate some kind of problem in networks, for example, RDP connections, VPN tunnels, files that are uploaded to us through forms with PHP, things like that. If we return to the signatures view where we previously filtered for low category or priority to find our signature in the echo replay, here we can search by priority, we can search by category, we can search by signature by entering an ID, for example. If we select the high priority level, we find the signatures with the highest criticality. I'm going to select one at random, this one, for example, and by clicking on it, it shows us a small description and a link to the CVE that will open a new window where it explains what this CVE is and why this signature is there. Here, for example, let's ski ransomware. Here it says that it is a Trojan. Many times we will find that the IPS is stopping things that could also be stopped because your antivirus, in the end all the services are working together, so it could be one or the other. If we go here to a Windows server, we find a severe criticality level, 5 of CCO. And by accessing here, we will also see more information and the affected operating systems and so on. In this case, the firewall would prevent this. Remote code execution. The next security service is GeoIP filter. To activate GIP filter, we have to check this checkbox. Once it is checked, the firewall offers us two options. Block all connections to or from countries in the next tab that we will now see, or block it based on firewall rules. In each of the firewall rules, remember, if we are going to see anyone, we create a new one. We have the option in security profiles to also use GeoIP filter. Therefore, this is where we have this granularity capacity. In GeoIP filter we find all the countries and regions that exist. We can block them as easily as putting them in the column on the right. They will be the ones that are blocked. And we can also block unknown countries, IP addresses that are not known. Then we also have the possibility of creating our own definitions with an object that is a public IP, and we can select a specific country to do it only, obviously, in our firewall. We can also modify the web page that is shown to a user when they try to access a web page that is located in one of the blocked countries. And finally we have a diagnosis tab where we can do, for example, a lookup of an IP address to find the geographical location or show the locations that have already been found. The next security service, botnet filter, is very similar to GP filter. We activate it by clicking on this checkbox. We can decide whether it affects any connection or based on firewall rules. And what we do with this service is block traffic from or to botnet network control centers. This is very important to avoid being part of a distributed denial of service attack. In the same way as with GeoIP filter, we can create our own botnet entries, dynamic entries. We can download data from public botnet servers via FTP and/or HTTPS. Modify the web page that will be shown to a user when they try to access content that is categorized as a botnet network, and again statistics and diagnostics. Then we have application control. Here we also enable and can enable login for all applications. By doing this, the firewall will immediately start detecting applications in the logs and writing down their names. If we go to see it, we will clear the logs and we will start seeing applications. We have a Signatures tab, and here the signatures refer to application signatures such as Skype, Mule, Flash, Victorin. We have about 4,000 signatures, very close to 4,000. And here we can filter or search or sort by clicking on the tables by risk, by category, by application or by signature. For example, if we tell it to show us the signatures that pose the most risk, we normally find all the signatures in the P2P category. Also proxy access, anonymizing proxies and this type of thing. With the applications we can block them specifically, one of them simply by clicking on the edit button and marking the block. With this, we have this application blocked. We can do it at the level of the entire category and at the level of the most internal signature. We will see this when we make the dedicated video on application firewall, which I know uses these signatures quite a bit and is usually an easier way to do it. Although we can also tell it to show us by category instead of signature, we will find all the categories that exist, and in a very easy way we can also, for example, block all P2P traffic. Block all game traffic. And any other option that we can think of. They are all here. For example, cryptocurrency mining is important, since it is very likely that we do not want it on our network. The last service that appears in the list of services is content filtering. Here, all we do is activate the service and we have the list of exclusions. The configuration is done in specific content filtering policies using specific content filtering objects. We do find a second tab where we can, as with other services, create our own URL, making a specific URL categorized or within a specific category for our firewall. And that's it for the video. As always, I hope you found it useful. You can write comments or questions in the YouTube box. Thanks.